Hi everyone, welcome to Problem Solving with JavaScript. Today I want to show you how to send emails using NodeMailer and Next.js API route. It's going to be fun because we're going to use this form right here to actually, as the form data we're going to be using to send the emails. We're going to be extracting the subject and the contents of the email to send to an email address. One thing we're going to be using is Zoho's application level security credentials, which I already have and already created. So that's something you could do on your own. If you need any help, you could put it in the comment section or connect with me on Twitter @_talentseeker, where I'm going to probably do a walkthrough video on how to create your own credentials. It could also be on other platforms. It doesn't have to be Zoho. What that basically means is that the username and the password, especially the password, wouldn't be the main password you use to log into your email account. It's going to be for this specific purpose. So while that's been said and done, we're going to get started right away. See you on VS Code. Welcome back. Let's look at what we have here. Like I said earlier, we already have the form created. Nothing has been attached. No use state has been attached on the form. So it's gonna be the focus is gonna be writing the codes for the API itself, the request itself, and I've already created like a folder API and a subfolder send email, which is gonna be like a route, and I have the route.js, which Next.js is gonna help us, manage the routing for the API. So I'm gonna come over here and do like export, a sync function and post. So Next API is gonna know that this is a post request. So the first thing I want to do is I want to collect the details, which is I could call it subject and message, of the form, which is request.json, which is gonna give us a request.json. The next thing I want to do is create a transport. So I'm going to create a transporter, which is a node mailer. A node mailer. I'm just going to initialize node mailer up here because you have to install node mailer. You have to install node mailer and node mailer. It has to be node mailer. I'm not going to do the structured import. That's not what we're looking for. Node mailer. So that's it. So I'm going to do a node mailer dot create transport, which is basically collecting an object. The object will require a service. Like I said, in my case, I'm going to use the Zoho service. It's also going to require a host. I'm going to call it smtp pro.zoho.in. It's going to require a port, and the port would be 465. It's going to also require, of course, we have to put the secure, which is true. Then this is where things get interesting. We have to call the auth. This is where I'm saying that you need to have your own credentials. So my user is going to be careeros at trypopra.com, which is the email for the Career OS platform. And then the password is gonna be, I'm gonna go take it from my environment process. So next public password. It could be a bit verbose than that if you want, but that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. So we've created our transporter and be able to import our data from the request, which helps us know what we're doing. The next thing we want to do is basically create like our mail option, which is kind of like the contents of our email. So we're going to create a mail option, which is going to have like the data of the email basically from it's going to be from Career OS of Trypopra. It's going to be to augustinrepos@gmail.com. Just for now, doesn't really matter. The subject will be send email tutorial. That makes sense. Yeah. Then there are different ways to do it. If you're importing from a HTML template like a handlebars, then you would have created a different method, a different structure to import the handlebar and read from there. But since I'm not going to do any of that, I'm just going to write simple HTML and the HTML is gonna have kind of like this guy. I'm gonna use him. So there's the h3. It's gonna be h3. It's really gonna be stressful, so I'm just gonna write the simplest h3. Hello, Augustine. Yeah, I'm gonna do it that way. Hello, Augustine. Then I'm gonna say something as easy as title would be equal to the $, and close this guy, close you. It's gonna be the $ subject. Then I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna call it message, and it's gonna be the $ message. So once we've been able to create like the options there, the next thing we're gonna do is call the function. So we're gonna call the transporter function on the send mail. We're gonna call the transporter option and call the mail option in there. Fantastic. So once we've done that, we need to send to the person who requested for our we're gonna return the next response, which kind of like tells the person who requests the API that, hey, the work is done. So we're gonna say message, email sent successfully, and we're gonna say we're gonna give it a status of 200 as well, just to be sure. But there's one thing I want to do for extra kind of like error handling. I'm gonna do something like this. I'm gonna do the try catch. I'm gonna call the try catch method, so we have something even much more sufficient. So I'm gonna kind of like return next response where the message says failed to send email, just to make it look depressing and fun. So we're gonna give it a status of 500. I'm not gonna report it properly. I'm just gonna give it a status of 500, just for the sake of let the hackers not know what the problem is. So 500. Just gonna give it a state of 500. So I think this works. So we could go back to our page and create use states for both. I'm gonna create use states for both the subject and I'm gonna create use states for the message. Yep. State. I'm gonna try to import that as well. Then I'm gonna write a function send mail, which is kind of like a simple function like this, an arrow function. Send mail, and I'm gonna give it an E, so I could do something like e.prevent default, so it doesn't refresh the page. So I'm gonna attach all of that. Let me put it here. We're gonna put the on submit send mail, and then we're gonna have to come down here and say on change would be subject, non-change value would be subject, on change would be an arrow function that says set subject to be, we're gonna call e there as well, e.target.value. We could use kind of like an email object like form data, but I don't want to really go into all of that right now. So we could do the same thing here as saying value equals to message, and then calling the onChange and say, hey, set message e.target.value. So we've been able to have all that. So okay, and this will be typed submit, just to make everything work and everything look even much more responsible. So it's going to be submit. Now we've had all that, the next thing we're pretty much going to do is call the constant response equals await. This is going to be an async function, so it's going to be await fetch Then we're just going to call the route and say send email. We're going to call the route and send email and say if I could just, console.log. I'm just going to do the simplest form of console.log await response.json. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do all those if response is okay, because that's really pretty much irrelevant. So we're just going to test run this with the console, and okay, we're going to test this with the console and see how it looks, and we've been able to send an email, right? I'm not going to show you my email address showing you there, but so we're going to use the console to read the message, either the error message or the good news message that email has been sent. So let's get going. Let's go see what we have on Chrome browser and, have fun with it. Let's go check it out. So let's get started. This is everything. So we're going to say send email tutorial as the head, and we're going to say did it work as the body, and I'm going to just click send and see what we have. Unexpected and 405 method not allowed. Yes, I think the reason for that is pretty much simple, because the way we called our fetch was called not as a post request, so we have to fix that. So let's go back to VS Code. All right, so let's fix that pretty quickly. So I'm gonna put in, I'm gonna add this part and say method is gonna be a post, and I'm gonna say body, I guess, is gonna be subject and message, which pretty much tracks with what we have here. Subject and message, yeah. So I'm gonna just do the whole JSON.stringify thing, and yeah, I'm gonna do that, so we have that, as well. So I think this should solve our problem, because we're calling a post request, so this should solve our problem. There's no need for headers and all, pretty cool stuff. Should I, so I could do something like content type JSON. Put that there. There's really no need for this part. I'm just doing that to flex some empty muscles. So we're gonna go back to testing it and see how that looks like. So let's try that again and see how that works. Send email tutorial. Did it work? So let's see if that works. It's loading. Hopefully the delay is a good thing. Fantastic. So you can see it right there, that email sent successfully. So that's pretty much it. You could go as far as clearing the form when you've gotten your message. If it's sent successfully, you could do all this fancy good stuff. But this is pretty much what we have. Message sent successfully. It's exactly the kind of message we're looking to get in return. So this is how you send email using NodeMailer and Next.js API. I hope this helps you in your next project or in the next thing you're trying to build that requires in-app, email, whatever. So go out there, use this knowledge for thy own good and thy good alone. Talk to you later. Bye.